to bring you our feature presentation.
And about evaluation is I believe that what we need to do is to motivate. Sure, entering contests are great, winning bling is terrific, you know, finishing better than you thought you could be, comparing yourself, maybe you're in a year or two and you compare yourself to somebody who's a DTM, been in 10, 15, 20 years and you win.
There's a word for that. It's called prey. But when you're part of a pack, you're strong. When you're part of a pack, you're protected. You're safe. When I went to my first Toastmasters meeting a year ago, I discovered a pack. I discovered a group of people who wanted to help me improve, who wanted to make me.
And you're one of the greatest attempts at coaching. You want to be the best, Frank? I'll help you be the best. Because a good coach in your corner is not just rooting for you. They're not just supporting you. They're actually helping guide you. And if I think of anything else besides coaching that I can introduce you to for evaluations, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Because coaching to me...
How much time should an evaluator spend with the speaker before and after he gives the speech? Andy, you can take this one.
Thank you. There's no requirement for how much time you talk to your speaker. If you want to spend more time with them before the speech, that's fine. Maybe they need that. Maybe they don't want that. Maybe they want to be focused on their speech and you would be distracting them. Maybe they're really excited to grow in certain areas and they need to communicate that to you. The best way to do it is to always let them take the lead. I owe Frank an apology because I showed up and didn't give him that opportunity. I was able to talk to him for about 45 seconds because that's what I gave him instead of taking his lead and letting him define the boundary for us. On the back end of it, it's the same way. Follow the speaker's lead. Do they want to spend more time with you? Do they want to get home? Do they want you to give them email feedback? Or do they not want to get an email 12 hours later or 6 hours later for whatever reason? You never really know. So you always put that speaker first and you let them dictate the terms of the pre and post conversation. You're here to be in a servant role to them. It's not really up to us to define how we serve them. It's up to them to define to us how they should be served.
Where's the evaluation book? What I do is I have a separate piece of paper. I write down everything just as they happen. If it's something that I thought was really noteworthy, I put a check mark. If it was really fantastic, I circle the check mark. If it's an opportunity for growth, a helpful hint, I put a little X. If it's something that I thought was really important, I more or less circle that. I don't feel a need to give every single ingredient that I have in that evaluation in my verbal, but what I do is I offer myself ahead of time to speak with the speaker afterwards. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll even email an evaluation instead of a love note. But I was really thrilled just the other day, somebody at Suncoast, couldn't be there, I was at an umpire meeting. She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you're not going to make it, because I really love when you're there for my speech." Remember, you're the assigned evaluator, but if you're in the audience, you're a member of the audience, you have a right to an opinion. Share that opinion with the speaker. I keep a journal at home, and when people say, "Hey, you were inspirational, you motivated me," I put those in. If it's like John Morse and said, "You had your hand in your pocket," I throw those away. But it's really good to give feedback, whether it's love notes, whether it's telling somebody afterwards, "Don, terrific speech, you didn't have a single or ah, you've really made progress."
Well, one thing I do about the book is the book is where I begin writing the comments I'm going to hand over to the speaker. And those are in handwritten language. What I do from there is take a separate piece of paper and I print extracts from the handwritten notes to make what I call the basis for my verbal evaluation. What it does is something else. I can't show you a piece of paper, but I'm going to hold up this iPad. Imagine that's the separate piece of paper that I put down over there. I'm able to do things then with my hands, my body, mobility, and at the same time I still have my notes there that I can wean myself off of.
The question was about the evaluation form in the back of the manual for a normal speech. Evaluations, we tend to think that they're just a single event. They can only happen one time. But the truth is that an oral evaluation is a private conversation in a public forum. There are things that you will not and should not say in a public forum. They may be totally valid, they may be value added, but you should not and you will not say them. You'll either run out of time, you'll hurt someone's feelings, you'll you'll step outside of that zone where you're supposed to be coaching.
So be careful. I get real picky about words like but, should, don't. And anytime you're trying to boost somebody's morale and their confidence, you can always find another way to say it. Both of these gentlemen know that I nitpick words a lot. In an evaluation, that may be the one way that you can say, look, I'm going to give you some personal information from me, but no matter what I do, it's an offering you can refuse.
It's really important to know what the speaker wants to get out of their experience in Toastmasters. That's why I think it's really important to get together with the speaker before they deliver a speech. One of the aspects that I do with evaluation, if somebody is delivering a speech, I check back to see what other evaluators have said about their speeches.
Can you tell the speaker that speech did not fulfill the project? Can you give him an F? I'm not sure. I won't embarrass you.
Rob is an easy mocker. He never gives an F. D minus.
It's a two-part question. Take the second one first. This ain't a school, so nobody gets A, B, C, D, or anything like that. The easiest part, though, is to say, I recommend that you do this project again. And here's why. I'm never going to say that to anyone without giving them a reason. This objective, I didn't catch. And I'm going to use the pronoun until the cows come home, because people say, don't say I so much. Yeah, say I. I didn't get this. I didn't hear it. I wasn't sure if you covered this. The point is, it's my perception. I'm not speaking for the audience, I'm speaking for me.
Oh, I hate to disagree with my mentor, Dr. Sandwich. I may lose my sandwich board, but I don't think that in Toastmasters, as an evaluator, you have the right to tell somebody you didn't meet the parameters and you should do it over again. But I do agree that perhaps individually afterwards, somebody could have done this to me, because I've actually morphed from telling people that when I deliver an evaluation using notes, I give you a better evaluation, and when I don't use notes, I deliver a better evaluation speech. Then I heard Andrew do a whole presentation that he didn't use any notes at all, and I'm thinking that I'm kind of buying into that. But if you Google evaluation contest Toastmasters, you'll see other districts where right up to the district championship, they're using notes. But it can be rather distracting. So I practice a lot without using notes. Right now I'm at...
Pile on to that last answer. I apologize for interrupting.
That's okay.
There is a difference. It's a small difference, but it's a difference. When you are giving a club evaluation, there is nothing more important than the speaker. When you are giving a competition evaluation, the same rule applies. There is nothing more important than the speaker. But the rubric is challenging you to find the best way to deliver the same information. You can make mistakes in a club setting, you can go over time, you can go under time, you can get off topic, you can deliver soft recommendations. But if you do that in front of judges, the judges will then tell you that you didn't do as good a job as you could have done, that you didn't follow the rubric, that you could have added to your analysis, you could have boosted your recommendations. And they'll tell you that in the form of where you land on the end scale. So there is a small difference, but the objective is the same. Frank, who better to give a speech where the objective is to speak with your body, because your body's worth talking about, man. I don't know if you noticed what I've built here. Not massive muscle, brother. So I think you have a brilliant company name, and I love the fact that you brought to the stage a topic about finding beauty in sports. We don't often pair those two ideas together, and you did it. And in so doing, I think you've demonstrated one of your strengths in speaking, language. You had spectacular language throughout this entire speech. You talked about the human body on display. Oh, what a beautiful phrase. Real beauty. Fantastic phraseology when you're describing the body. You're actually using excellent words to describe something that's 100% physical. I thought it was brilliant, and I was captivated by the language that you were using almost effortlessly. I don't know how much time you spent preparing it, but to watch you, it just looked like you were talking about what you knew. It didn't seem like it was hard at all. I want to hear you continue talking about the body. I want to hear you continue talking about this mission that you're on to inspire people to fitness. And as you do it, I want to encourage you to use that body more. The objective here was to use your body to speak, and you absolutely did that. You used hand gestures, you gave us examples about Michael Jordan. It was excellent. But did you use it to the extent that you could have used it? With that artistic piece of artwork that you call a body, you could have done incredible things. Why is a swimmer a work of art? You could have explained to us what the shoulders look like, how the muscles layer over each other, why we're so impressed when we see them standing there, how they flow through the water, and how awkward it is for the human body to be in the water. You could have done that with every sport that you listed, and you could have used your body as the template to paint your work of art. Speaking with your body isn't just your hands, it's your entire body, and you have that. But the best part of this speech was the fact that you were able to speak with passion. Nobody here doubted that you were absolutely convicted to what you were saying. We were along for the ride because we were sharing in that passion with you. Keep that, you will never go wrong. You could stand as stiff as a board, and we're going to be struck by the passion that you use when you speak, especially when you use that beautiful language. So in summary, your language is awesome. Keep it up. If it's easy, keep it being easy. If it's work, keep investing the time because it's worth it. Remember that your body is not only your own work of art, but it is a beautiful template that you can use to help us understand what you're talking about. And keep the passion going. When you deliver any speech with that kind of passion, you will take your audience with you. Thank you, sir.
I should begin by mentioning that Mark Brown used the word of the day, exuberance, twice during his speech. Wow, that's fabulous. Is that just a check mark that we put off? No, not necessarily. It shows that he has adaptability. Soaring like an eagle. You certainly did that this evening as a Toastmaster returning to flight school. Before Mark's speech, I asked him, well, what do you want to accomplish? He said, I haven't delivered a speech, well, be it at least a Toastmaster speech, in 8 years. So I want to knock off some of the rust. Rust? I didn't really see any rust at all, because underneath that rust is iron, and you certainly have a lot of ability as a speaker. It's like riding a bike. Although I think if I were to ride a bike today, I'd probably wear a helmet. But Toastmasters is like riding a bike, and you proved it this evening. So your title itself was something that I think resonated with me. As far as being a storyteller, and it was from the storytelling manual, that's when we're most effective as a Toastmaster, as a presenter. You had a well thought out story.
Good evening. The library is closing at 9 p.m. If you would like assistance completing tasks, staff members will be happy to help. If you need to contact someone to pick you up, you may use the phone at the Ask Me desk.
Thank you, library god.
I just want to make sure that time did not count against me. Thank goodness. I certainly wouldn't want that to happen. Your gestures were very vibrant. There was many times your gestures were throughout the speech. You talked about your remembering. You said remembering. You talked about 3,000 feet, and we could actually see you flying 3,000 feet. One opportunity, I think, for improvement, perhaps, use a little bit more vocal variety to stretch yourself a little bit more. You did have the voices of Bob and Sally. You maybe could make them a little bit more reverberant. You also could use more of the stage. Fly your plane over to the right side as well as the left side. Perhaps think of it as a certain part of the flight. Maybe you're starting out here when you're on I-4, and then maybe you're I'll walk slower. Maybe you're over here when you first get off and you see that first glider and you see the planes on the tarmac. And then maybe over here is another, and is the final wrap up to your speech. I'm not sure there was specifically a climax. One suggestion that I have is maybe a little bit more about what's in it for us, a takeaway. You talked about a boyhood dream. All of us have boyhood dreams. Except if we're girls, then we have girl dreams. But we sometimes have bucket lists too. So you might just say, you know what, that's another one off my bucket list. What's on your bucket list? What did you dream about as a young person? And are you willing to reach that dream? Joining Toastmasters. joining a second club. Come to the youngest and funnest club in all of Tampa Bay. A wonderful way to make dreams come true.